Once you realize this point, then automatically you take up responsibilities and the Kundalini will rise. I know of many people who said, Mother, we cannot speak, we have a stage fright, all that. You just stand up. That's all. And they started giving lectures, I had to stop them. There are many who said that we cannot write any poems, Mother, we are no good, we cannot sing. I know of a girl who used to sing so horribly bad that people had to tell her that because she would always go out of tune and very loudly she would sing. Then they had to tell her, now you better keep at the back and don't sing now anymore. Now she's the one who is sort of leading the group. So all these beautiful things start manifesting, which you should accept that they have come to you. And give up all that you call as fear. All kinds of fear we have. These are all left-sided things, as you have seen yesterday, left-sided man, what he should do. But what a left-sided man has to know, that he is now an enlightened soul. And no one can touch him, leave alone destroy. No saint will be destroyed. Those who will try to destroy you will in a very interesting manner will be finished. Not destroyed, but very interesting manner, very jocular manner. You laugh at that and you will enjoy the way things are working out. Like there's a saying in Sanskrit, Vinashakale viparita buddhi. Means their destruction will start by their own stupid methods. They'll become stupid. And at every stage you will say they are becoming stupid. And by that stupidity they are destroying themselves. You don't have to worry about that part. So that's why you don't need any destructive powers. It will all be done by this all-pervading divine power. So that part you have to give up. You just forgive that person. As soon as you forgive, the responsibility from you shifts. And then Kundalini rises. You don't have to carry any malice, anything against him, but just laugh. Because they are blind. Because they are stupid. They are foolish. What do we do if you see an idiot? We may not laugh in his presence, but we do, isn't it? At his back. Because he's an idiot. So, they become idiotic. And you see them becoming idiotic and then you just start. You see, that's the humor of Sahaja Yoga. You have to have some humor also, isn't it? And then you start seeing these jokers, you see, behaving in that manner. And the whole circus they do is nothing but jocular. So there's nothing to have any fear from any human being. Same about organizations or anything. Naturally, you have to know one thing, that as you are realized souls, you have seen the truth, you are in the light. So they are going to oppose you. They are going to oppose you. They did this, isn't it, to others. Everybody suffered so much. But now no more sufferings to you. Only thing, you can enjoy the humor. Just understand this point, that nothing will destroy you, no one can touch you. But they are there just to supply some humor for you. If you take such a light attitude towards them, all this fear and left side will go away. What are these badhas and what are these bhoots and what are these tantrikas? Nothing. You are so powerful. Just with one glance, you can see them dancing on their heads, the other way round. As long as you will have fear, Kundalini won't rise. Because she doesn't rise for people who are cowards. Coward is she is not going to support. If you are a coward, she said, all right. You are walking on the street. Normally, people are afraid if there's darkness, afraid that somebody might attack. But a Sahaja does not. If he's a real Sahaja, because there are ganas and there are angels around him. No one can touch him. And the one who will try, these ganas will make such a fool out of that person that you'll have a nice chance to laugh at. Now you watch and see. So this left side or this fear should go. Once this fear will go, all your slyness, all your intrigues, all your jealousies will just disappear. That's how the Kundalini will rise very well. Then another problem is for the awakening of the Kundalini is your ego. That's tremendous, I must admit. Rather too much for people who follow Christ. It's very surprising. And those who follow Buddha. Because they are anti-Christ. Because they are anti-Buddha. The one who on the cross said that, "Oh Father, forgive them for they do not know what they are doing." If you are following him, how can you have ego? Now the forgiveness should be absolutely spontaneous. There should be no ripple even of anger. Because you are so powerful. What can anybody harm you? But if you catch on your agya, only you are harming yourself. If you want to harm yourself, nobody can help it. So this anger, which comes from liver and settles down in your agya, has to be looked into. That's a very important thing where Kundalini stops, in the West especially. Because this whole culture here has created two problems. The first one is acquisition instinct. What you call as greed. The more greed you have, the more these machines can run and you can have industrial development of plastics. And then have a conference against ecology. In Spain I saw, I don't know, there must be 3-4 car factories because every car had only one driver because it had to be there. And so many cars that you just don't know how to move. For your program also is impossible. You must start 2 hours earlier when you can just take 15 minutes. In France is another thing, Paris. Paris, if you want to go somewhere, you should start at 4 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise you cannot reach that place. Same about Milan and same about Rome. The worst is Switzerland. I don't know what to say about Switzerland. The name itself is rather very dangerous. Because they are making all ugly money, they are doing all these things. I mean, every kind of sin they have got in the name of acquisition. For them, nothing like sin, taking somebody's money nicely, keeping that there, extracting money from poor countries, they don't feel there's anything wrong. I mean, they have become immune. So this acquisition instinct that we have, and which has been very much fanned and have been made into a big sort of a quality in the West. We should try to see it clearly. In the olden days, in the same European countries, this was used for creating art, for producing artists, for supporting artists. Even in our country, artists were supported by the kings and all the big empires that we had. These days, there's no question. No government is willing to support the artist. You know that Mozart was called by the Queen herself to play before her. So the governments were not only looking after the collection of taxes, but they were looking after the artists, musicians, painters, and people who did creative art. Like in France, you can see how their queen collected beautiful artistic things and encouraged artists to do artistic work. Spent her money in that. And now, you know that she was killed by people. By killing her, they have killed the art of France. And now the French themselves have become bourgeois. Those whom they condemned, they have become that. So, acquisition instinct has to be taken to the acquisition of art. That also should not be plastic. Otherwise, tomorrow you might start buying plastic, artistic things. Genuinely made, handmade things. Or the music also, which is very deep, classical, singing the songs of the divine. Not the cheap type music which just makes you mad or makes you full of lust and greed. So this is one of the problems of your culture, which gives you this kind of a ego. I mean, people, if they have, say, a Rolls Royce, then of course nobody can talk to them. Their brain has blown out of their heads completely. But even the driver of the Rolls Royce, who doesn't own the Rolls Royce, he drives, his head is off. He has a different gait, he walks in a different way, he talks in a different way. So this acquisition instinct gives you so much of ego. I mean, you go to somebody's house, like some stupid Indians who are now in England. I went to their house. They are Sardarjis, means following the path of Guru Nanaka, where drinking is not allowed. So as soon as you rise, he shows us a pub in his house. My God, I said. I went back 3-4 steps, you see. He says, see my pub, as he says. And from the pub he takes out a soda thing and shows us how it pumps out the soda. And he wouldn't talk, And when we said we don't drink, he thought we were sinners of the worst type. That we don't drink. So this acquisition instinct is now ending up into something which is very cheap, vulgar, and immoral. The fondness for showing off is so much that you are sometimes shocked. The way people try to show off. Like an American lady came from America. And she asked me, Mrs. Srivastav, how many pubs you have seen in London? I said, none. Oh, you are good for nothing. Useless, absolutely. You haven't seen any pub. The best houses in any village, any city in England is a pub. I said, from outside I've seen, all right. It's just to satisfy. I thought she's artistic. No. Do you know the best pub in London? She gave me the list, I said, which one is the best? There was one called Hermit's Pub. I said, what is this supposed to be? The man who was living in this house died. And nobody knew that he's dead. So, for months together, nobody went in. And the whole place was filled with that stink. And lots of cobwebs were there. Then they removed that dead body from there, and the stink is still there, and the cobwebs absolutely intact, You have to be careful that you don't break them. And there, that is the best pub for which you have to pay quite a lot. And I have seen that, so proud. So where does it end then? This acquisition instinct ends in where? In rottening things, in putrefying. We may call it fermenting. It has to end up. Because the reaction of the ego comes and you start enjoying things which are rotten, like cheese of France. Never eat that. I tell you, you will burn your finger, you will burn your throat, and you will burn your stomach. It is very rotten. And the more rotten it is, the better. The wine. The wine is the rotten grape juice. Absolutely rotten. You can't take it. It smells. I've seen the smells like a rotten cork. I asked somebody, how does it smell? He said, it's very fine. I said, does it smell like rotten cork? I've never smelled a cork. That's why I said, if he had smelled a rotten cork, he would never have taken to wine. So, all things that are rotten, the discovery of cheese, what had happened, how it started, do you know that? There was a big snowfall and milk was left in one cave. So, because of the snowfall, everybody forgot about the milk. It was left there, then summertime, the milk became rotten, then it became more rotten, more rotten. After 12 years or so, somebody went and saw this there. Thank God I have not taken my food today. And so they took that milk, they called it cheese.